Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. And I am Rina Lang, one of the co-founders of the coaching community. And together with me here is also my partner in crime, as usual, Ildiko. And we are very pleased to have Jim with us. And Jim and we have known each other for probably 6 months now, if not longer. And Ildiko just met Jim earlier this week. And I have been, I must say, a client of Jim's for some time now. And the reason why I started working with Jim is specifically because he's a coach, he's a hypnotherapist, and I needed to overcome certain inner blockages that were really holding me back in my business. So when I met him, I was kind of like in a very dire situation. I was wrapped up in a lot of things that were not generating me any revenue. And I really needed to pull myself out and refocus my efforts. And I'll talk more about it as we go. But I must say, ever since I started working with Jim, things have transformed for me significantly. I must say, I'm probably a completely different person now. Or better said, I am the person I wanted to be all along as an entrepreneur and business owner. But there were just so many big fish swimming inside of my energy field and my consciousness, my mind, that were just holding me back. And I was just spinning wheels and spinning wheels. And then many great things happened since I started working with Jim. And today we decided to finally invite Jim into our podcast and have him with us and to share more about the type of work that he do, who he is, how he got started as a coach, and why exactly he's working specifically with business owners. And it has much to do with his own life path. So Jim, why don't you share with us a bit more about yourself? How did you end up being a coach and hypnotherapist?
Sure, Rina. And before I start, just let me say thank you very much, Rina and Ildiko, for inviting me to be on your podcast. Well, I got started to be a coach probably about 10 years ago. I started coaching business. And the reason I was coaching business is because, for entrepreneurs looking to do lifestyle businesses, to transition from working a job, all their life, to getting some financial freedom by doing your own business, was because for decades I had done the very same thing. It all started, I can first remember about 12 years old having a real entrepreneurial bent. My father and mother were very well read. We had a huge library in the house, and there were many books on starting your own business in there. I know my dad really had wanted to do that, although he never did that. But I picked up at a very early age wanting to, be an entrepreneur, have that freedom, have that competence of being out there on my own, doing some relevant things for people. And the only issue for me was that it wasn't an entrepreneurial family. It was more of a desire to be entrepreneurial, that I picked my spark up, but I didn't have the inner mindsets, the inner thinking necessary to be an entrepreneur. Didn't know that, and that's fine. I just went forward, but I really, I was a serial entrepreneur, but most of them didn't work. But I did learn, mechanics of things as I went along. And so it's actually about 15 years ago now, I started being a coach. As the internet was starting to rise up, more and more people were doing business. I started helping with, systems that are helpful for entrepreneurs starting their own business. And as I worked with them, I started realizing in them, seeing in them what I recognized in myself, that, they could do the mechanics of it. There were blocks. There were things that were, they were smart people. They were motivated. They really wanted to do, what they were trying to do, but somehow they kept getting in their own way. And I realized that I really needed to work at a deeper level than just the conscious, do's and don'ts and what, nuts and bolts of business. And really what I was finding was that my clients did not have a knowledge problem or a skill problem or ability problem. What they had was a mindset issue, was the way they viewed life and approached life that just they stumbled over. And so I started studying NLP to try to start working at a deeper level with people, more at a subconscious level. And in there, I took a side class in hypnosis, and all of a sudden it was amazing how powerful a tool that I had just discovered. And, I was working with myself. I was listening to hypnosis tapes during this time when I started studying it. And eventually I went to an accredited college of hypnotherapy in the United States and became a certified hypnotherapist. But hypnotherapy became my tool to help, my powerful tool, my superpower, if you will, to help entrepreneurs to do what had taken me decades to do, get past myself.
So that raises the question. So you come from an NLP background, got into hypnotherapy. In your view, so, in our community, we have nearly 4,000 coaches. If there are coaches who are thinking about going down that route, hypnosis, what makes a good hypnotherapist? What are the requirements to become a good one? So at which point is it worth, start considering whether to study that or not, or do something else?
Great question. Well, as someone who's created a 100-hour certification course for hypnotists, I'm a firm believer for coaches and other practitioners who are non-hypnosis fields. I'm a huge believer in hypnosis, and the reason I am is because it's such a natural part of who we are. We are natural hypnotists, and we're natural hypnotees, because that's how we learn. Hypnosis, what we're calling hypnosis, is really just a learning state. And children up to about the age of 6 live in that learning state. That's why they absorb everything, and they're not even aware of what they're absorbing. It's just going right into their subconscious, and it's just being categorized. Feeling labels are being put to things. They're seeing relationships, colors, models for approaching things, and they're not even aware of it. It's just a powerful learning state, and it's so natural. And so we're all really qualified to be hypnotized, and we're all really qualified to hypnotize as well. And we actually do. It's just that we don't recognize it as a hypnosis. One of the biggest ways where it happens is in storytelling. When we listen to stories or we tell stories, there we naturally set aside our critical factor or critical filter that we develop as we start moving outside the home, going to school, and start developing our conscious mind more. We start rejecting ideas, and we no longer absorb ideas, but we now reject them, which is a very good thing. It's very powerful and it's very important. But when we tell stories, we set that critical factor aside, so we don't analyze details, but rather we absorb ourselves into the story. That's actually a state of hypnosis. We just naturally go there, and so we're naturally hypnotic. And that's my 100-hour certification course really works more with the art of hypnosis than the techniques of hypnosis. It's very easy to hypnotize somebody, and it's not so much hypnotizing somebody as much as what do you do once they're hypnotized. And that's where the real skill comes and really the real art. So to be qualified to be a hypnotist is not just to be able to hypnotize somebody, which is really very simple to do, actually. In fact, all my clients learn how to hypnotize themselves as a part of me helping to equip them to continue growing with this powerful tool, for the rest of their lives. And it reinforces the work I do with them. So being able to hypnotize and taking classes in it is great, but it's there's more to it when you're trying to use it to do something. And then there's even more to when you're trying to use it to do something for somebody else as a hypnotist and not a self-hypnotist. You can look at a person's education. I specifically looked for an accredited college of hypnotherapy when I decided to go because I wanted the credential. But the program I went to was a great program, but it's really a workhorse version of a clinical hypnosis, which is really a great basis for what I do. But a lot of my learning has taken place afterwards. And from my mentors, one of whom was a psychiatrist, a brilliant man with hypnosis and hypnotherapy, just absolutely brilliant. And he's a mentor, posthumously, but I collect his writings and I read his works. So I think probably, you know, to get to to more specify my answer to you, Ildiko, is a great hypnotist will learn more and more their craft, and they'll stay engaged in their craft, and it won't stop at just getting a certificate or a piece of paper, or in my case, a diploma or a certification credential. It's going to go beyond that. But that certificate and that paper and that certification credential don't make the great hypnotist. The great hypnotist is the person who can really tap into their ability to hypnotize themselves and therefore other people. And then here's the trick: know what to do with them once the person's in there, because there are more effective ways to get around that critical filter, and there's also ethical issues as well. You really want to work with a person who continues to grow and develops their skill and their art. They're going to have some kind of credentials as kind of like, you know, signs that they're moving in that direction, but also how they talk, how authentic are they, how much do you trust the person, how much do you like the person really, is your intuition when you're looking for a hypnotist or hypnotherapist is that person is going to be working with your subconscious, and your subconscious is your intuition. So listen to your subconscious, listen to your intuition about, you know, your gut feel, so to speak, about the person. That's another way to really determine who to work with. Techniques are good and important, but really it's what you do with it. That's really the key, and it's hard to define that, in terms of what to look for. Just talk to the person, get to know what they can do. And here's the biggest one for me, probably, is the ethics, the morals of the person. And you kind of have to get a feel for this, because we're working with people, and for me, it's unethical for me to put ideas in somebody's head that are not their own. It's unethical for me to put solutions in their head that are not their own. And see, I really became good at what I do, when I stopped trying to solve people's problems. When you first get started, it's like a powerful tool, and you're going to school and you're working with a lot of other people that are professional. Your teachers are professionals. The other people are wanting to be professionals. And, you're it's like, wow, I can solve this, I can solve that. And it's really exciting. But then you get to realize that, you know what, I don't really solve anybody's problem. They've already have the answer within themselves. So I got good at finding out where their person's answer is. And a lot of hypnotists are really achieving what I would call a translation. They take something, a habit or a thought pattern that is unwanted, and then they change that to something else, but it doesn't change what underlies that action, so it comes out in some other way. So it's a translation of the problem, but the problem remains. I go for transformations because that can be done very easily or simply with hypnosis. But I work with the language of the subconscious, which is symbols and metaphors. Our subconscious, was guiding us and teaching us and absorbing information before we even were verbal, before we even understood words. That's because the subconscious works in symbols and pictures, and it builds associations and feelings connected with those associations. We'll just build this model of reality outside of our head, and then when we're trying to do something outside of our own head, we have to rely on our understanding of reality, or the map of that reality that is built of pictures and symbols. And so by working at that level, I actually can remap things. But once again, I think Rena so eloquently put it in the beginning, and I hear this from all my clients in some form or other. They're amazed that through working with me during the process and afterwards, they are more of who they are than they were to begin with. I do nothing. So you look for a person who's not looking to get results for you, but also is not trying to be a guru and give you all kinds of ideas that probably don't fit you. And here's real power, Ildiko, just to give you a sense of kind of what I think a person should look for. My power to help people transform is not within me, it's within the person. I harness the other person's ability to transform their life just the way they need it. And I use their symbols, not my symbols, because their symbols embody exactly what they need, and they embody exactly the tools they have and the resources they have within themselves already to solve it. They're just not getting it yet. They're blocking it, and there's things that are in the way, but it's already there. I just have to help them to shed what's in the way. So don't look for somebody who's changing you. I think to me, it's an ethical issue. I'm a firm believer of free will and our own ability to solve our own problems, but I'm also a firm believer that we all need help. We can't see our blind spots. And for me, I work with the blind spots where they're really blind, which is outside of consciousness. And I have all kinds of techniques that help me to elicit them, allow the person to draw them out naturally.
Beautiful. That is so powerful. There was something you mentioned quite a few times now, so which was about the power of hypnosis and the skills of the hypnotherapist comes in when you're working with the client. So what you do when someone is under hypnosis, and there's a lot of misunderstanding and misconceptions and myths about it, and a lot of people are quite wary of hypnosis because they don't know what it looks like, what it will feel like. They don't want to, they fear that they may lose control or they might be manipulated and all that sort of stuff. A lot of this comes from movies. We had a conversation the other day. So can you help us break some of those down and explain exactly what it is, what can one expect from it, and why we shouldn't fear it?
Absolutely. That really hits the heart of what causes people not to be aware of this powerful tool, this natural ability that we have. It's really, a lot of hypnosis ideas comes from movies, and a lot of those ideas comes from early explorations into this phenomena that people were noticing and trying to harness. And it goes back to Anton Mesmer, and even before it goes back thousands of years into temples of gods and sleep temples and chanting and shamanism. It's just everywhere because people are trying to tap into their ability to transcend their powerful yet limited conscious mind. And but a lot of what we see in movies today is based on a kind of a mesmerism type of an idea where, Anton Mesmer would do these actions, and it would go through long periods of time to where the person, hypnotized themselves just to escape from it. And it was a lot of showmanship to it. And so then you get into artistic license from movie authors and book authors, and there's all kinds of misconceptions from that. Hypnosis is a natural learning state. It's something we move into and out of throughout the day, and that's my approach to it. And there is your subconscious is a protector of you, and it is the supreme protector of you. It causes you and helps you to survive moment by moment by regulating body systems, even at that level. So its prime job is to protect you. And so in hypnosis, you're never going to say what you don't want to say. You're never going to do what you don't want to do. Now, here's a caveat. Some people do want to say things. They do want to do things that their conscious mind will not allow them to do. But if they really want to do them, they can do that. But it's going to be such that if it's a real threat to the person, or the person really does not want to do that, they're not going to do that. In fact, the person is actually more under control and more aware in hypnosis of what's going on around them, because they're not as distracted by conscious thinking and conscious thoughts. And now there's just that awareness that the subconscious has to have in order to regulate what's going on and alert to dangers. And so when a person's hypnotized, they actually will oftentimes hear even more acutely. They often feel a little bit more acutely. But the thing is, since it's not alarming to them, they'll start ignoring it because they're so inwardly focused, which is really what hypnosis is. It's an inward focus. They don't care to respond to it. They don't care to notice it, but it's like a jailer. One of my teachers explained it to me like this. It's like the hypnotist will go into the jail to visit the subconscious, but the jailer is always there listening to what's being said. And if he doesn't like, or she doesn't like what's being said, the jailer comes right in and kicks you out. So that's what's going on with hypnosis, real hypnosis. It's a you can't get stuck in hypnosis. The worst that can happen is you'll end up falling asleep. Oftentimes, though, you get so inwardly focused, you're very aware of what's going on at the moment, but you just completely forget about it as each moment passes. And because you become so absorbed, and you can think you're asleep. I remember mentioning to a teacher one time that as I was listening to hypnosis recordings, improving my skills, I felt that maybe I was falling asleep and not getting the full benefit. And she, as we were talking, I mentioned, but an interesting thing is I'm sitting there and people are passing by, my family here and there once in a while, and I want to be sitting there with my mouth like, hanging open. So I noticed that I keep my mouth closed while I'm listening. And she pointed out, you see that you are definitely fully engaged in the process. You're just so deep in hypnosis that you're just like in a dream state, but you're very aware moment by moment. But as the moment passes, if there's nothing of concern, you forget about it.
Great. I think that clears up really nicely. To be honest, some of the stuff I wasn't aware of myself, so it's really useful for me too. You mentioned earlier that you work with entrepreneurs. I work with very ambitious people within businesses, and some of them who might be so I do coaching. I don't do hypnotherapy, so I possibly don't go as deep as you do, but I guess maybe not everyone needs it because they are a bit easier to just progress with coaching as well. Yes. I have had a client who was just quite resistant to open up or even allow herself create that clarity and talk about those things that happened in the past and maybe causing her issues and being a bit stuck. So with regards to entrepreneurs, a lot of the mindset is quite similar with the corporate leaders and entrepreneurs. And because they are at that level, coaching and hypnotherapy and this sort of support is even more powerful because very often they don't get the necessary support within people around them, whether it's their employees or peers or whatever. And I'm from that background, so I understand their world, and that's how I started coaching leaders and senior professionals. Why do you think, why is it that you picked entrepreneurs as your niche or as your target audience? What led you there, and why is it so important for them specifically to have your type of support?
A great question. And you made some great observations there. Why entrepreneurs? Because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm really tapped into the creative ability of people, and the ability of people to solve problems and to create things that are very relevant to others. And that's where I find meaning in life, and that's where I think we're designed to find meaning, because that's what motivates us. Having the freedom to choose what we're going to do and what we're going to commit to, and then the ability to become competent in something, and in particular something that's helpful to other people, and then thereby become relevant. And I believe those are what motivates us. And therefore, to me, I take that as being that's what really we're here for. And so, with no religious connotations to that whatsoever, apply your own, as I do. But, to me, that's what excites me. And so I love working with people who are doing just that. And entrepreneurs are doing just that. They're striking out to get that freedom. They're making choices to take risks. They're taking choices to make a difference in people's lives. They're getting good at something, and they're good at something, and they're bringing that out into the world. And I think that's such a wonderfully creative and powerful thing. And I think think it really strikes at the heart of what we're here for. And so for me, that's why I love working with entrepreneurs. I love working with everybody, actually, because we're all like that in our own different ways. But entrepreneurs in particular are like that. You mentioned how people, some things don't seem to connect with some clients, and here's how you can really tell. See, our mind is really a continuum. There's not really separate compartments, and at one point, our thoughts are very conscious, but they're very linear, very powerful, but very limited in scope, so that they can process and analyze and plan and solve. But outside of that limited focal point of our consciousness, our conscious mind, the much broader area of our thinking is actually our subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is the seat of our creativity, the seat of our humor, the seat of our feelings, the seat of artistic ability, of fun, of what's really what really makes us being a human great. And so we don't move from one part to the other as separate compartments. We actually, our conscious mind is more of a focus, and it's like a flashlight, and it's like our subconscious mind is like this big warehouse, and there's things in there, and we can't even see all of what's in there, but we've got this conscious mind that's like a flashlight, and we can flashlight and zoom in on what's accessible within our line of sight and focus. So we're not changing, we're just kind of shifting our attention between conscious mind and unconscious mind in terms of our focus, where we're focusing. But there's also an unconscious, which is outside of consciousness, and it's actually the body, the feelings within the body. How you might meet somebody and you don't know why, but all of a sudden you tense up. Well, your body is preparing you for something that it's aware of, and it's probably assisted by something your subconscious has seen. But we're all a system of mind that it's a spectrum. And a lot of business people who are really successful, they're really good in the conscious mind, but they're also really good in the subconscious area as well. There's an agreement, and their subconscious mind isn't getting in the way of what their conscious mind wants to do. And so many people don't need to go deeper, because they're already, they've got what I call an entire mind advantage. Their subconscious mind and their conscious mind, and probably even their body consciousness, their unconscious, is on the same page. So they can decide to do something, and then they do it. And that's, for me, the trick of when I can tell when something is a deeper thing that we want to look at. It's when they want to do something, and they could do it, but for some reason they're not doing it. Procrastination, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, lack of motivation. There's something that's there. And what that's telling me is that the subconscious mind is protecting the person, and there's a disagreement there, a conscious unconscious conflict, or there's an unfamiliarity there, and the subconscious mind is protecting the person from a situation that is unknown. Very basic things, simple things, really, but that's what our subconscious mind does. It protects us. We would call that, from a conscious perspective, our comfort zone. Well, our comfort zone is really just the edge of what our subconscious is going to allow us to do. And we can go so much further, and but our thinking isn't big enough to go so much further, because our subconscious mind is protecting us. But it's protecting us for a reason. See, nothing is broken, and really, it was a key insight of mine long years ago. Nothing about a person is broken. It's all working perfectly. The problem is it's working too good in a way that's not helpful to what the person wants to do now. But at some point, when they adopted it, when they were much younger, when they were much less experienced, sometimes 5 or 2, they're acting on that map, which is no longer relevant, but they don't realize that they're acting on that map. And so now they've got this comfort zone they can't get out of. So, it's business people, everybody's going to benefit from working with the subconscious mind, because everybody has a comfort zone. Everybody can think bigger. Therefore they can do bigger. Now we're all ingenious problem solver. So we may need to solve some problems along the way to get to do what we're going to do. But if we want to do it, we can do it. The only thing we don't know is how long it's going to take us. But if we set out to do it, we can do it. We are prolific storytellers. We tell ourselves stories about the solution and about where we're going. And then we start living those stories out. That's why stories are so powerful. So we just have the ability. So as big as we can think, we can do bigger. But our subconscious mind is regulating that and protecting us from ourselves, really. But oftentimes for things that no longer apply, it could be as simple as, you were 7 years old in first or second grade, and you were talking to your best friend sitting next to him in the desk, and the teacher kept telling you to pay attention. You didn't, so now your teacher made you move to the back of the room, and it was like mortifying, and that alone is a traumatic experience to a person that age. And we would laugh about it. We wouldn't even remember it, but our subconscious mind has mapped out that in our experience. And if it's a trauma that we haven't released the energy from, then it will probably play heavily.
I'm loving every word of you. All the things you talked about is exactly the sort of stuff I work with my clients, just differently using different modalities. The whole self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, confidence, procrastination, all that sort of stuff, and exactly the sort of things that hold my clients back. So I would love to continue this conversation separately. I think we could have a beautiful collaborative working arrangement here, some sort of way.
That would be wonderful. We are working on the same thing, just from different angles, and all the angles lead to other angles, and they all connect. Yeah,
brilliant. So as I mentioned earlier, as I'm experiencing from my coaching practice, and I assume you probably do the same. Some people respond to coaching, hypnotherapy, or these modalities more or less, or faster or slower. As you mentioned earlier briefly, that some people are just able to go deeper, quicker, and then create that clarity faster. So what do you find from your experience? How many sessions is there an average? How would we know that it's working already? How would a client of yours be able to tell that they are experiencing that shift already?
Sure, absolutely. And you mentioned something that you mentioned deeper and faster, but actually deeper is not necessary for faster. Faster is how fast the person wants to go. And I get excellent results in what I would call a waking hypnosis, where the person's eyes are completely open, and a lot of times they're not even aware that they're in trance. So it's not the depth of the trance, it's the quality of the trance and the quality of the work we're doing that determines how fast it happens. And how many sessions is an excellent question. And a lot of times you can't really say up front, but I know it's a minimum of 3 sessions. And here's why, for me, a minimum of 3 sessions to get a great result for my clients is so important. We get the work done in the first session about 95% of the time. And then the thing is, the person has changed their perception, their mental map, therefore their mindset, therefore their decisions, their actions has changed during that one session. It's that fast. But even though they've changed, they're going to go back to their environment, which has not changed yet. And so what happens is, in the subsequent 2 sessions, I mature and I integrate more the person's experience as a new thinker in an old situation. And if whatever we need to polish up, sometimes things are in layers and we take care of one part of it, and then but we can subsequently in the following 2 sessions polish that and make it even further, integrated into the life. So for me, a minimum is 3 sessions. From there, if it's something that is a little more concerning to the person, I may look for 5 sessions, 7 sessions possibly. If we're looking at something like weight loss, that might be something like 12 sessions, because we're really training habits and things like that. And so, and we really want to get into issues, but I'm not really working with weight loss as such. I'll address it incidentally if it's affecting an entrepreneur from in their confidence or being able to go forward. But some things that require more habit change and education might require more weeks, but it's not because of the hypnosis. It's because there's more pieces of the work that need to be done. Now, when I go longer than say 7 sessions, and I don't do many 7, I do mostly 3s and 5s when I'm working with that kind of a thing where it's a single issue and we're going to get a person unstuck, break them free, and it's more just plain old hypnotherapy. We just do those sessions and the results are immediate, and then it takes a little bit of time to integrate into the life. Now, when I'm working with a cluster of issues that relate to one another, I'll work with programs that are much longer. I have a 30-day program, a 90-day program, and we'll take a long time. And the session, we'll work with a number of issues though, and we'll get synergy by working with them all at the same time. But we still get the same, we take care of the problem up front, and then we mature and we integrate even further and refine, in that process. And then 6 month is much more of a coaching program, because I'm really coaching mindset and perception, and into a lifetime of really climbing mountains, becoming continually the best of who you are and even beyond what you thought you could be. So that takes like a 6 month period. So, it really depends on what we're working on and how deep, but change can come in one session. It often does. But I'm always looking to mature that change. So 3 sessions is a minimum for me to do a good job. But the work actually usually gets done the first session at some level, more or less. And then we just fix it. We just refine it from there.
Great, thank you. There's one question that popped up. When we had a conversation the other day, you mentioned that the whole self-sabotage and mindset is a habit. Tell us a bit more about that, because that was a very interesting part of the conversation.
Oh my goodness, that is such a powerful thing to realize, that everything we think or feel is invariably a habit of thinking or feeling that way or responding that way. And it's when we sit down in front of our computer in the morning, we feel, oh, that's a habit. We don't have to feel that way. Every time we sit in front of that computer, it's a brand new experience. But the thing is, when we associate it with, past overwhelm and past, struggles, then we're in the habit of deflating or becoming demotivated, as an example. So everything is a matter of habit, and habits are powerful things. They're wonderful things. They help us to brush our teeth in the morning without having to figure out how to do it every time we do it and rethink a new strategy for doing it. They just put on autopilot so many areas of our lives that are so helpful for us. We can get in the habit of eating healthy, of getting good exercise. On the other side, they can work against us, but they're still working great, but we've just trained them to do the wrong things for us. So, but they're very powerful. They're very good. But a lot of habits we don't really think of as habits, like feeling certain ways in certain situations. And we're triggered into those things by a stimulus, some kind of stimulus. We've trained ourselves to react without thinking. So it's very fast. But the problem is, so it has to be habit, but the problem is we don't get to choose when it's like that too easily. And so really, it's just a matter of changing the habits of feeling certain ways that are leading to actions that are not resourceful, and just replacing those, using that same trigger, but now harnessing that trigger to trigger off a habit that is helpful. So we're not taking away any habits ever. We're always replacing habits, and we're always replacing unresourceful habits for what the person's trying to do with a resourceful habit for what they want to do. But it's all habits. Everything's a habit. Our feeling, when we our opinions about everything, they're all ultimately coming down to becoming habits.
Sounds so simple. I'm sure it's not so easy.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Sorry, Ulrika, were you did you have a question, or can I go next?
No, you go. That's fine.
Talking about habits, I know that Jim, you have started a podcast, and you're talking actually to entrepreneurs in your podcast.
Yes.
And you talk about their failure stories and how they pivot and succeed eventually. And tell us a bit more about that, about the good work you do as a podcast host.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that, Rena. I'm very excited about that podcast. I have 20 interviews, fantastic entrepreneurs, really some great insights into what they do and into how they got there, which gives great models for getting to where you want to go as well as an entrepreneur. You, the listener. And the name of it is the Business Success Breakthroughs podcast. And the very first episode is starting the first week of September, the first Monday of September, September 5th. It's going to be daily. There will be 2 live streams a week and 3 recorded interviews. And as I've said, I've already got 2 months worth of pre-recorded interviews in the can and some really great stuff. And it's all about celebrating success and achievement that an entrepreneur has done, but at the same time recognizing the journey that got there. And that's the value to the listeners. They're on their own journey. They're trying to break through their own things. And by hearing others, they are listening to their stories, right? And they're absorbing models for how they might be able to solve their challenges. And so it's a very powerful thing. And I'm meeting such resourceful people, such accomplished people, and having such wonderful conversations. And my listeners get to peek in on that. And then my 2 live sessions, I kind of riff off of what we talked about in our interviews. And so it's live Q&A, and I'll riff off into teaching on some topics, go deeper. And so my listeners get the best of all worlds. They get to really hear some really great stories, and it's not all the high points, the mountain points at all. It's well, what were the points between those mountain peaks that most people don't talk about?
I guess the question that begs asking, what are some of the inner blind spots you see people have after having had all these conversations? What do you see entrepreneurs have? What are the biggest blind spots that have held them in the past from success or even caused failures in their journey?
There are some great common ones, but one that really kind of is almost invariably true for every one of them is that they came to realize that failure and failing is an important part of succeeding. And they've just learned how to go into it and to learn and adjust from what they learn by doing. And so they've all gotten past the point of not taking action out of fear or lack of confidence, and they've just gone in there and they've failed gloriously. And by failing gloriously, they end up succeeding wonderfully. So perfectionism, you can't be a perfectionist if you're going to fail. You have to have confidence, and you have to have confidence in yourself that you're going to learn. As one mentor puts it, you have to iterate your way to awesome, and that's what they invariably have learned.
Okay, so let's have a taste of it. We have spoken so much about hypnotherapy, and
Sure.
as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm an oldie when it comes to working with you, but Ildiko is newbie, and she actually volunteered volunteered herself basically to have a session with you. She's never worked with you before, and how about we do this? So Ildiko, I think you even prepared a topic that you would like to work through with Jim today.
Yeah, sure. Be gentle on me.
Oh, absolutely, Ildiko.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a real pleasure to work with you. And, there really isn't, the nice thing about where you're sitting right now is there really isn't anything that you have to say. There isn't anything you have to do. In fact, there isn't anybody in particular you have to be. You can just be. So with that being said, let's find out what you want more of in your life, or what is it that you want more of?
More of.
Yeah, it's going to be related to what you mentioned. You had a topic. Yeah. So what is that topic?
So the topic was that we picked where I am, and I'm sure a lot of our coaches are. We are at the end of the summer period. A lot of people probably had a little bit of a break, and I must experience I've been away for a while, and we had a little travel with Rena, and I just want to reignite my vision, my motivation, my passion. and get a bit more clarity of what next.
Sure,
Basically.
absolutely.
And I thought it would also be useful for our coaches in the community who might be finding themselves in the same place where they just need a little bit more reignition of energy.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so you did a nice job of saying what you want more of. So let's just kind of reaffirm that. So what you want more of is you want more of an ignited passion, reconnecting to your work in a renewed way, really, in good ways, but renewed ways, even more what?
Motivation, inspiration, alignment with my passion. Just find just re-energize my drive, I think, for my work, so I can get back into it with more energy, make faster progress.
Great. More energy, more focused, a renewed passion, inspired, reconnected, inspired. And when more energy and more connected and more passion, what happens next?
With regards to what I do next or how I will feel next? All of it.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. So when I have all that, I will feel lighter about the stuff that I need to do.
Lighter about the stuff you need to do. There you go.
It will come to me easier.
Easier. And what kind of a lighter is a lighter like that?
Well, lighter just because of the energy.
Energy.
It's not taking away energy. It will energize me.
Energize. And what kind of energize is an energize like this?
Excitement.
Excitement.
Yeah, I
And what else?
mentioned motivation.
Motivation.
Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Ideas, creativity.
Ooh, creativity. Nice. And energizing and excitement and motivation and creativity and inspiration. And when all of that, this is like what?
What do you mean? Like
just a
what?
picture of what that is. Give me a picture of what that's like inside of you, where I would understand from the picture just exactly your excitement, your motivation, your inspiration, your creativity, your reconnecting with work in new ways, exciting ways.
So that will look like,
that's like
me talking to a lot of new people, me sharing my message, me sharing my wisdom, my help, my love, me going out there, being more active.
That's right.
Face to face as well as online, more marketing.
That's right.
It looks like more marketing.
When you're talking,
just
when
more
you're doing
content writing, content creation.
Nice. And when all of that, that's like what?
What does it look like? I mean,
no, it's like what? You did a perfect job of telling me what it looks like, which is wonderful. But think about, not with your conscious mind, but feel about that excitement, that motivation, that inspiration, that creativity, as you get out there more, as you share your excitement, as you share that passion, as you do more marketing, championing what you love to do, lifting up your clients, that's like what? What picture can you give me?
Picture. Oh my God.
Yeah, when you feel those feelings, what picture would contain those feelings?
I see myself with a lot of smiling people around me.
Smiling people around you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They are at ease. They are happy. They are fulfilled. They are successful. So they also feel lighter.
When you feel lighter, when you
Yeah,
put
they
yourself
feel
in
lighter.
there, they feel lighter. That's
Yeah,
right.
they
That's
feel
right.
happier.
They feel happier.
Yeah.
And you're energized and excited. And you feel this motivation, this renewed motivation, because it's a part of that renewed motivation is new motivation, imagination, creativity. You feel lighter. It's like smiling faces. And those smiling faces are lighter, more successful. That's right. There you go. That's it. And you may notice a tendency for your eyes to be blinking, and that's good. And when you feel natural, you can allow your eyes to close or you can keep them open. It's up to you.
Mm.
But it may feel better to you to close your eyes, to allow yourself to focus more inside. There you go. That's right. Perfect. See, you knew exactly what to do, that nice sigh-like breath, making room for new oxygen on the next inhale as you turn your attention more and more inward now. And I might just mention, Ildiko, you can keep going where you're going. And I might just mention to anybody who's driving a car or anything to just listen with your conscious mind or tune out. But if you're in a place where your full conscious attention isn't required, you might want to join in with the trance too. But otherwise, just listen. But now, Ildiko, you're going deeper and deeper. And you may notice a slight tendency to swallow, which is perfectly fine. That's right. As you go naturally deeper now and deeper, more and more inside, your focus turning inward. That's right. And now, in your imagination, in your mind's eye, that's right. Scan your body for any remaining tension and just allow it to be there. Just recognize it. And you'll notice that as you recognize it, it's heard and therefore it begins to dissipate just naturally as you go deeper and deeper. And everybody experiences hypnosis in their own way. And may be noticing a sense of lightness. Other people notice a sense of a heaviness that's a comfortable heaviness, a sinking down into the seat. Some people feel a warmth, some people feel a coolness. And all that really matters is how you're experiencing hypnosis now, because that's the perfect way for you to go inside deeper and deeper now. And I'll count from 5 to 0, and each count will bring you deeper now as your body continues to relax and rest. And you're very aware, perhaps at one level, of your surroundings. And if something happens in your surroundings that you need to attend to, you can attend to it. But otherwise, you just ignore it. In fact, it actually makes you go deeper because it's the normal sound of your everyday life. It just signals to your subconscious that everything is fine and normal. And that allows you to go deeper now. That's right. And starting at 5, we go to 4 and you go deeper. Your attention focuses more inward. That's right. Your breathing becomes more even as you go to 3. Your focus is very much inward now and it's growing more and more inward. 2, twice as deep. 1 and 0, deep sleep. And Ildiko, whenever I say the words deep sleep to you for the purposes of hypnosis and with your permission, of course, you'll find that you can go so quickly into a nice, beautiful trance, just exactly as deep as you need it to be for any given session. And any level at any session is just fine. Because your subconscious knows where you need to be to do the work that you want to do, the work that you expressed when we began talking. And now, allow your subconscious mind to show you a memory, any memory, of a time where you felt really motivated, really energized, where you felt sunny and smiley and you felt light. It could be a big experience or a small experience. It doesn't really matter because your subconscious is going to show you something of great value to you in this. Just take the first thing that comes to your mind and just give me a little nod when you have a memory, a specific memory in mind. Very nice. And now take that specific memory and put yourself into it. Remember it. As you remember this experience, recall the time of day it was, where it was. Was it inside or outside? What was the temperature like? Who was there? Who wasn't there? And as you remember that experience more and more, notice where you are in relationship to that memory. Are you outside looking at it, or are you experiencing it from within? That's right. You're very connected there. Perfect. And if you're experiencing it by watching it, move into it now. Feel the way you feel. Feel that excitement or motivation or inspiration. Feel the way it energizes you or just exactly what it's doing for you. Can you feel that now? That's right. You're doing such a fantastic job, Ildiko. You're really a natural at this. That's right. And it feels so good, doesn't it, to feel that feeling? That's right. And I wonder, and you'll be able to speak and I'll be able to hear you and you'll still remain in trance. But I wonder, when you feel this energized, motivated, inspiring, creative energy, just the way you want to feel it now, whereabouts in your body do you feel it? In your heart? Nice. And whereabout in your heart do you feel this energy, this excitement, this motivation, this inspiration, this creativity, this desire to be passionate and share your passion? Nice. Is it around the edges, or is it in the center, or is it your whole heart?
The right side of my heart.
It's on the right side of your heart. That's right. That's right. It's on the right side of your heart. That's right. And I wonder if this feeling, this sunny, happy, exciting, excited, energizing, creative, inspiring feeling, I wonder if that feeling in your heart, the right side of your heart, can grow bigger now, or does it just stay the same size?
Yeah. Feels like it's growing on the right side.
It's growing on the right side.
You're
Very
walking
good.
now.
Yes. See that? That excitement and that happiness, that motivation is bubbling out already. And I wonder, you didn't expect to feel that excitement today, did you? And yet there it is. And you can bring this feeling and allow it to grow whenever you want to. And you do. Because more and more, now that you're aware of it, it will become a natural part of what you do. As you think about marketing, as you think about getting in front of people, and as you actually do marketing, and you actually do get in front of people, sharing your passion, this energizing feeling, the kind that's on the right side of your heart right now, will just grow more and more to the point where you'll begin to wonder, how did I get so motivated to do these wonderful things I'm doing? That's right. You know that, don't you? You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Yes, you do. Very good. And you know exactly because it came from you, because it's completely for you. And your subconscious mind is such a wonderful helper. Your subconscious mind was leading you to everything you've accomplished in your entire life. As a baby, as a newborn baby, your muscles just moved at random, and your arms and your legs would shoot out, and fingers would grasp and clench. And over time, your subconscious began helping you to realize that you could feel what was going on inside when you were doing that. And you could almost begin to do it on purpose. And so little by little, your subconscious mind helped you to do that. And then as you gain more and more control, your subconscious mind put it in your thoughts that you can roll over, and then you could crawl. And you had to work so hard at it, over and over, trying so many times, getting the feel of working particular muscles, getting the feel of working particular muscles in the right sequence, getting the strength up in those muscles as you tried over and over. But you were loving it every bit of the way. You were motivated from within because you felt from within all that you could do, all that you could be at that moment from that point. And that point was to learn to crawl. And then from there, your subconscious was there motivating you to stand. You were looking around, everybody around you, everybody important to you were walking around on two legs. And you knew that you could do that too. And your subconscious began teaching you, motivating you to try, getting feedback and analyzing what happened from tries when it was not what you pictured in your mind. And you didn't quit. You didn't give up. And you enjoyed the reaction of those important to you, encouraging you to do so, to stand and to take your first step. But they weren't instructing you because you couldn't understand what they were telling you. Your subconscious was there teaching you, bringing your full potential up to that point to fruition. And that same subconscious has been with you your entire life, motivating you, teaching you, helping you to learn from your experiences, and then coming at it again with new energy, with new inspiration, with new creativity. Bringing up that feeling, the kind of feeling that's like on the right side of your heart, to help you to have the energy to go forward now. That's right. And you felt some things shift and arranged within yourself just now. Have you not? That's right. That's because we're not approaching being more energetic and passionate and excited and imaginative and creative and inspired from a conscious level, we're approaching it from where it starts. And so we don't have steps to do it, but your subconscious knows exactly how to do it. And now we've enlisted the help of your subconscious, who will continue even after you awaken in a few minutes. Your subconscious will continue to work on this 24/7. And I wonder how you'll notice this excitement, this inspiration, this renewed vision that you now have. Will it be like going out at dawn to do something and you notice that it's starting to get a little bit lighter, but then you focus on what you're doing otherwise, and all of a sudden you look up and you realize, hey, it got light. I just noticed it got light. Or will it be like a spotlight where this renewed vision that you now have, you're just so aware of it right from the beginning, like a spotlight going on? I'm really curious to see how you're going to experience that. Now, Ildiko, I'm going to count from 0 to 5. And as I do, you'll come back to full conscious awareness when I get to 5, but you'll come up easily and gently. And all the work that we've done here today will be sealed in, and your subconscious mind will continue to work on just these things, just that right side of your heart, to the point where it's automatic. It's natural. That's right. Natural for you. That's right. And you can tap into this feeling anytime you want. And the more you do, by closing your eyes and bringing back this memory, the stronger it will get, and the more natural it'll get, to the point where you won't even think about it anymore, and it will just naturally be there for you, because that's what your subconscious does for you. It loves to do that for you. That's right. And so starting at the level of 0, which is a level of deep sleep. And Ildiko, whenever I say the words to you, deep sleep, for the purposes of hypnosis, and with your permission, of course, you'll allow yourself to go into a nice, beautiful trance, just as deep as you need to be, just as deep as you've been today, or even deeper, or not so deep, just wherever your subconscious wants to go. But for now, the session is coming to a close. And so we go to 1, as you become a little bit more aware of yourself in time and space. And 2, becoming more aware of the ambiance of the room you're in, getting a feel for the furniture around you, for that space you're in. 3, becoming more aware of the surface upon which you're seated. 4, becoming more aware of sounds in the room around you. And when you wake up, you're going to feel really good, really motivated, Ildiko, and it's going to follow you throughout your day. And it's just going to become so natural to just naturally slip into this. It's so wonderful. That's right. And 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, coming back to full conscious awareness. Excellent job. Just give yourself a stretch and
oh yeah,
just feel good. You seem lighter. Am I off base there, or you seem lighter? And
yeah, you definitely help me see things I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, and we won't talk too much about it because your subconscious knows exactly how to do it, and we won't get your conscious mind working on it. We'll let your conscious mind notice those changes as they start happening more and more for you now. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You did a wonderful job.
No, you did.
Thank you.
Excellent. And that's what I kept trying to explain to Ildiko whenever I was talking about the work that I do with Jim. I guess a lot of us who've been working on improving ourselves, we get so stuck on the things we don't like, the things that don't work for us. And when I started working with Jim, I really realized that there is a lot that's already working, but we just buried somewhere so deep in the consciousness. And that's why every single session, it's all about digging up what's already there, amplifying it to such an extent that we can finally actually reconnect with that feeling and have as a reference point that, yes, we've been there, we know how to do it, it's part of us, there's nothing wrong with us, it's just, we just need to dig it up. and make it again
Exactly.
part of our consciousness awareness and the way we do things.
Exactly.
And
You pointed out something, you mentioned
positive transformation more than anything.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something so important. When we try to do it from the conscious mind, which is very powerful, but it's very limited, we tend to focus on what's not working and the problem. And there's a law of our psychological mind, where our attention goes, our energy goes, and where our energy goes, that's what grows. And we think we're fixing a problem by focusing on the problem, but we're actually making it stronger and digging in and deeper. So, Rena, you really touched on the heart of a very important aspect of what we do. We do exactly what you said. And there's lots of techniques. And so you'll notice that we do many different things, but it's always to that same kind of an end, isn't it?
Excellent. And by the way, about doing all kinds of different things. So tell us a bit more about your programs. I know you have a range of offerings. So talk to us more about your work. Sure. And how working with you actually looks like.
Absolutely. Well, to get started working with me is really just as simple as getting in contact with me. And typically that's through my website and clicking on the link up at top to schedule a complimentary session. And we'll hop on Zoom or sometimes the phone and just kind of discuss what you're trying to get more of in your life, or what you're trying to accomplish and move forward from. And from there, we'll decide where we want to go if it makes good sense, and you'll get some good ideas from our conversation. And if we think it makes sense, we'll schedule a more full discovery call where we'll really go deep and look deeply at what you want to accomplish, and what you're working with, and where you're starting from, where you want to go, and we'll look at which of my programs might or might not fit, and we'll give you a very good sense of where to go next, whether it's with a program or you maybe don't need a program. So that's the typical pathway, and then we will, if a program is appropriate, we'll go into a program. So that's the typical pathway, but it starts with just getting in contact with me. You can send it via email, which you can find on my website. My website is www.advantage.com, all in word. And up on top, there's a link to schedule my calendar. You can schedule something, and just that complimentary 20-minute call. And towards the bottom, there's more contact information with an email address and an online contact form, so you can contact me in those ways. Now, from packages, I have a very broad range of what I do. I work with all those different levels of thinking. As we get closer to the conscious part, it becomes more coaching. As we get more towards the subconscious or the unconscious, we're going more to working with in those modalities. So we're getting more into hypnosis more and more. There's always a blend in what I do. In my coaching, there is hypnosis, although a lot of times people don't realize it. It just has become so natural to me to be hypnotic like that, because it's a natural way to be. And then there's to full-on hypnotherapy, which was very much more what you saw in the demonstration. I did a little bit of work with symbols, which are very important, and that's usually present in everything I do as well. Can I share a screen that compares my things? Okay, great. Let me get this going here. And you should be able to see that now. Can you see that? Great, excellent. Okay, so there's a little spectrum on the bottom, that green arrow that has double ends, and where's the best place to start for you? That's going to depend on your situation. That's why we have to talk and see where to start, or if to start, when to start. And in that spectrum, I can serve a wide variety of clients. Sometimes kind of the place where I usually will start working with clients is in my breakthrough package. They are entrepreneurs. They're trying to do something. For some reason, they're getting in their way. But it's not just one issue. It's a cluster of issues. There's procrastination, there's perfectionism, and then there's imposter syndrome, and these are all related. But they are tending to express themselves or exhibit themselves in different ways. And by working with them as a group, we get a lot of synergy, and we really move past what's slowing the person down. And so the focus of my breakthrough package is to resolve a cluster of issues that are slowing a person down. They're moving, they're trying to get forward. They would like to take action, maybe they can't. They would like to take more action, effective action, maybe they can't. They're holding themselves back. But they're moving forward, but it's very slow, and it's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. They're just not making the progress they know they can make. That's a 90-day program. We do hypnotherapy sessions every other week, and we leave a lot of time for integration and learning before we come back to our next session. And that also includes booster recordings. Every week you get a custom-made recording that will amplify the work that we've been doing in sessions. And it also involves some other parts of the program that are designed to really make this effective quickly. And I think the key word here is shed obstacles for this program. And the metaphor for what we're doing is we're taming dragons. We're not slaying those dragons. Those dragons are keeping you from going past your comfort zone, but you put them there oftentimes when they were just really tiny and you didn't even realize what you were doing. And but now they've grown into these big dragons, and when you try to go past into that outside the comfort zone, they're there to protect you by keeping you from doing that. And they're actually there to help you. They're actually wanting to serve you in some ways. And through this program, we actually tame those dragons. We turn them around, and we don't take away something that's very powerful about you. We just turn it around so it works for you. And I do that with something that a proprietary method I call perceptual remodeling, and that very much relies on metaphor work and archetype work and that type of stuff. Now, other people will move on from there, or they'll come in right off my breakout package, and that's where it's a 6-month coaching package where we get together every week. They're 30-minute sessions. They're really quick, and there's coaching, and then within those some of those sessions we'll use hypnosis and hypnotherapy, as the need arises. But we do something I call vibrational alignment coaching, and it's really bringing the inside in alignment with where you want to go, and that is going to start involving focusing on where you're going, even though there's all these waves that you're making your way through now. You're focused on that shore, and we're creating these transformations inside that success inside that precedes the success that is coming on the outside. And so it's really, it's retraining yourself to be a coach to yourself instead of a critic to yourself. It's training you and coaching you to discover how you know exactly what you want to do and where you want to go and when you want to do it. And it's training you to tap into your own natural resources to do that. And it's showing you how to use your feelings as a gauge to help you to know exactly where you are right now at any given moment, and always being able to put yourself back on course. And so it's 6 months, and we meet every week, and it's really it's about climbing mountains. We're not really trying to shed obstacles. We're really not trying to get unstuck here. We're becoming all that we can be, but from the inside out. And it's really more powerful. We do a lot of mindset work, and it's really more powerful when we're doing it in this way, because what happens is to influence the subconscious to do what we want it to do, what our conscious mind wants to do, we can do it with lots of repetition and lots of emotional feeling put to what we're repeating over and over and over. And this is why affirmations work, and they're good. But where affirmations can become less powerful is when our subconscious has an objection to what we're affirming, and it starts to sabotage. So what we do is we can then go into hypnosis, and we can get the subconscious on the same page as the conscious mind. And so we can create mindsets with that are now supported by affirmations, but don't come from the affirmations. They come from within first. So they make affirmations much more powerful. So it's really a powerful program for becoming who you want to be. And we clean up things that need to be shed or things where you're stuck in the process, but the focus really is on becoming. Now, kind of a catch-all, it's a nice introductory package, or it's a nice if somebody has some kind of like a trauma they really want to get past. They need to forgive something or somebody, or they just have a fear of speaking, fear of getting in front of the camera, some single issue. That would be my blockbuster package, and that can be anywhere from 3 to 7 weeks. That one we meet every other week, or excuse me, we meet every week for an actual hypnotherapy session. And it could be a 3 or a 5 or 7 sessions, depending on what we're working with, where you want to go and where you're starting from. Typically, it's going to be 3 sessions is a nice beginning point, and I leave some flexibility to move into more sessions if we need them. At priority or premium price, good pricing. And it's really about breaking free. It's like somebody's stuck. I had a client who, he wanted to create a course, an information product, but he was terrified to get in front of the camera. He couldn't even think about getting in front of the camera. And we did some sessions, and there's a testimonial, I believe, in my website where, now it's very natural for him to get on the camera. And I had him do a video for me, and he was so natural, so authentic, because it was so natural for him to be himself on camera. And it was just wonderful. It got him unstuck. But that we did that in the context of the bigger breakthrough package, because we were working on clusters of things that were holding him back. But this one is a particular thing that we just needed some really focused work on, and we did a great job on that. Any questions about that?
Yes, we do have a couple of questions. First off, does the person have to prepare in any way before the session?
No, this is the beautiful part. The person who has to do all the work is me. You just have to come there and participate. Now, it's not a done for you thing, and it's not a done to you thing. It's a done with you thing. So all you have to do is show up ready to go, and you don't even have to know what ready means. You don't even have to know what go means. Just come there ready to do the work, and I'll lead you into that, and it will go just naturally based on who you are and whatever's going on in your life at the moment. So there's no preparation for yourself. Now with that being said, we can enhance the experience for you. So by way of preparation, you probably want to let everybody in the house know that you don't want to be disturbed for the time of the session. You probably want to be in a place where there's not a lot of traffic, although if there's traffic, that's okay. Foot traffic from people in your house. Noises are fine. Traffic from cars outside the window is fine. Those types of things are fine, but you might want to just create an environment where nothing will call your attention to have to tend to it. And so that's the best way to do it. Headsets are a nice way to accomplish that, but that's not really necessary. And I'm speaking for my online clients right now. People who see me in person in my office, in the United States and Missouri, the office is already set up to be distraction free.
I'm a big fan of your booster recordings, and I find them really, really helpful between the sessions. But you don't record the sessions themselves. So tell us more about that.
This is the beautiful thing about experience, Rena. We get better and better the more we do things and take action. And I love a big part of my training, an informal part, was hundreds of hours of hypnosis recordings I listened to, where I developed all kinds of confidence and all kinds of wonderful things in my life. But it was like I lost track of what I was saying. What did you ask me again? I'm sorry.
About the recording, why you don't record the session?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I put myself into a trance. I put myself into a trance. I started reliving this wonderful experience of listening to recordings. Well, I love listening to recordings, and so I decided I'm going to make recordings for all my clients, and I'm going to record those sessions, and they're going to do great with those. Well, when I started recording the sessions, when I went back to kind of edit them a little, I realized, oh my gosh, we're revisiting things that we had cleared up. They know those things are no longer true for the person. If they start listening again, we're refocusing on things that are no longer relevant. And so I realized that we don't want to revisit the work we did. We want to boost where we went to and where we're going. And so what I do now is in my packages, I will record boosters, custom boosters, 10, 15 minutes, and it's for the person, and it's designed specifically to enhance what we did and move it forward. And so, recorded sessions, live sessions it's a nice idea, but I learned by experience that it's not a wise idea. And in fact, the boosters turned out to be fantastic.
Definitely, they're my personal favorite, and definitely a good thing to do between the sessions. I've been seeing Jim every other week, and I think personally, from my experience, it's a good pace. I don't think I would want to have it every week, just because there's just so much that shifts and transforms, and I need that time to absorb it all, integrate it into my life, use the booster recordings, which I get 1 week after the session, and then listen to those to kind of enhance things. But you want to kind of like simmer in that energy, in that change for 2 weeks. And then usually by the time the next session comes along, I have a new issue or some new topic to work on. And that's the interesting thing about something just emerges, and that's the next thing, and then we work through it. And in my personal experience, it works great. Depending on what you're trying to do. I know you have all those different packages, so it's really depending on where you are in your stage, what is it that you need, how big is your issue, how fast you want to transform, how big you want to grow. And that reminds me that the topic of today's conversation is really thinking big. And I think many entrepreneurs probably hold themselves back by not thinking big enough, and not thinking of themselves big enough to actually be able to do it. We are so limited in many ways the way we think, that I really feel like the work I've been doing with you has helped me expand my horizons and expand my ability to see that I'm bigger, faster, greater than I thought I was. And so thank you so much for doing that with me and journeying with me on this path. And I know you already shared your social links. You already mentioned where people can find you. Mm-hmm. But I also know that you prepared a little giveaway to our community. So tell us a bit more about that.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. As a way to introduce myself and to, you saw a demonstration and you heard what I had to say. But as a way to experience the work yourself a little bit more, I created 3 special gifts, and there's MP3 recordings, and you can just download them and listen to them. I would recommend listening to them with headsets. Don't listen to them when you're driving or doing work where you have to be paying attention to be safe. But otherwise, just relax and listen to them. And the first gift is a Rekindle Your Vision guided meditation. And guided meditation is basically hypnosis and beautiful. And let's see, let me give you a prettier link. That link is a good link and it will still work. But let me give you a prettier one. I know sometimes I'm leery about clicking on links that are very long, and so I like to see what I'm clicking on. So I'm going to go right now to get the link for you. That is a final link. Make sure I'm choosing the right one, and let me put that into chat. There we go. It's gift.entiremindadvantage.com/3 special gifts. And the first gift is a Rekindle Your Vision guided meditation. And then gift 2 is an exciting one, another exciting one. It's a supercharged self-confident affirmation tape. And I supercharge this. They're affirmations you would recognize as affirmations, but they're recorded in such a way that they're designed to get to the subconscious easier. And I'm not talking about subliminal or anything else. You hear everything I say, you hear, but it's going to sound different than what you think, than what you would expect, on purpose to help your subconscious. It kind of makes your conscious mind kind of tune out and just listen, so it doesn't get in the way, and it fascinates your subconscious, so your subconscious listens more. And so it's not specifically hypnotic, although the effect can be hypnotic. So once again, you can do things, you can listen to while you walk, or when you just do mundane tasks, where you don't have to think too hard, but don't do it while you're driving or anything like that. The third gift is the Successful You guided visualization. And here I give you a sample of visualization. And in this particular visualization, it's how it's you as your success now. And that's entrepreneurial wise, but for most entrepreneurs, that also is their personal life as well. It affects that. So, successful you in your business life goes into your personal life, and successful you in your personal life goes into your business life, and it all supports each other. So, I gave you a visualization centered around that. So there you have it. And please do, tell me where to send it. Put in your email address. I'll send you a place to download it and enjoy them. And let me know what you think. Send me an email and let me know what you think about them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for being here with us, for all your time, for guiding us, for showing your skill. I'll definitely go.
Yes, and thanks for the
gifts. I'm going to download it myself, and I'll give it a go tonight. I'm looking forward to that. And we will drop all the links under the YouTube video as well. And it's already under the Facebook video. It's going to remain there in our Facebook group. And thank you so much, Jim. Any parting words on thinking big and being an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Rena and Ildiko, thank you so much for hosting me. I've had an absolute pleasure speaking with you, answering questions. I love questions, and I loved doing the work. And so it was just really a pleasurable experience. Thank you. Parting words, and this will relate to thinking big, is we are equipped by, we inherit, and it's our birthright to do great things. We're completely equipped to it. We're prolific storytellers. We create things outside of us from within the mind first. Everything we're working on right now was in somebody's mind at some point, but there were problems that had to be gotten past, challenges to make that happen. But we're ingenious problem solvers by birth, and we are just voracious learning machines. We have to learn things to overcome challenges, but we are equipped to learn. So really, the world, our thinking is our only limit, really, practically speaking, and maybe really, but practically speaking is enough. And we can always do more and be more. And we always do more when we are being more. And it's so simple and automatic to be more when we start thinking more, thinking bigger. And so just want to encourage listeners to really go to the cutting edge of their growth or comfort zone and start moving their way into it. We've talked about some strategies in here, and there's some ways to do it, affirmations or hypnosis or things along that nature. But the world is really yours, and I can't wait to see what wonderful things people accomplish in their lives. The same is true for your listeners. I can't wait to hear about or see the wonderful things they accomplish as well as they think bigger.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much, Jim. On this note, thank you everybody for being here with us, and all the best. Enjoy the rest of the summer. Enjoy the...
Yes, and hopefully see you soon in our group. Watch out for these live podcast, live cast conversations. We will bring more as we go. And
as always, we love you and continue aspiring and thinking bigger. Bye.
Bye.